over a year now, this has been my go-to Nintendo Switch case. The CitySlicker by Waterfield is absolutely fantastic. And while it comes in at a premium price point, I felt it's been pretty darn worth it. It's held up incredibly well over the course of 12 months, and it allows me to take my game carts, my system, my Joy-Con, and a few cords wherever I go. But lately, I've wanted to bring a few more accessories along for my travels. Normally, I just shove them in a backpack or wherever else they could fit, but after I found a few scratches on my beloved pink Joy-Con, I've become a little paranoid, and I wanted something a bit bigger and a bit more protective. Luckily, Waterfield was kind enough to send over the arcade pack, which is a bigger Switch case that does hold some of the stuff I've been wanting to bring. And today will be interesting because we're going to see if this bigger case is actually better and if it can replace my favorite case that I've used for over a year now. So I want to show you how I have my CitySlicker packed to see if we can replicate it with the bigger guy. Now, one of my favorite things about this case is that it is pretty slim and it does have a pretty slight footprint. It can fit in just about any carry-on, or you can grab it separately with the wrist strap. Now, one of the best parts of this case, and probably the thing I'm going to find hardest to let go of, is underneath the flap, and it is this wonderful custom-made 5 Switch cart holder. You can pick 5 of your favorite cartridges and slide them into individual slots right in the front of the case. This has been something super awesome that the arcade pack, I know, does not have. Now, there are other means to store your cartridges, and I've been going really heavy on the digital front lately, but I love this. It was what attracted me to the case in the first place, that it allowed you to really securely store your 5 favorite cartridges, and then also, of course, it keeps the system itself very secure. So inside here, we have the Switch, and I like that the Joy-Con are able to stay on the system. To me, that's a kind of nice feature because I don't have to deal with attaching them or them accidentally falling out of the case or anything of that sort. It's just all together. The wide form factor allows that to happen. There's a pretty good screen protector in here that keeps it safe and nice and padded. And then in the back, I have another pair of Joy-Con for multiplayer action. That's about it though. You can't store much else. In the back zipper here, I do have a USB-C cable, but I'm not bringing my power brick and I'm definitely not bringing a Pro Controller. You could pack a few more things into this guy if you want it to bulge and stretch, but given that it is a $79 case, I haven't really wanted to overburden the thing or risk ruining the materials, so I've kept it down to what they say it should hold, and it's worked well. But this arcade pack has more space, and I think I'm gonna like that. You'll notice it's not as long, which is a bit odd, but it definitely is wider. Not by a lot, but by enough that it can carry the Pro Controller and the AC adapter, which would be really nice to have. You'll notice once we flip over the top though, no game cart slot, and this kind of kills me inside. Again, I've gone very digital heavy as of late. I don't plan on changing that anytime soon, but still, for some of my games like Mario Tennis Aces, ARMS, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I would love it if I could bring them with me. Now, you could just kind of stick them in here and they'd probably be okay, but I feel so good with the secure form factor, especially on planes, especially running through airports. It's just nice to know that your games are not gonna fall out, you're not gonna lose them. There is very little to no risk with the CitySlicker. But let's pack this thing up. Now, you do have to take the Joy-Con off to insert the Switch into the arcade pack, which I'm a little shocked by. I'm surprised they did not keep the same length of the CitySlicker. It would have made a lot of sense to me, but again, it's a different form factor, it's a different case. It is more expensive though, so keep that in mind. It runs you $30 extra as compared to the CitySlicker. So the Switch is going to stick right in here. Now, something nice is the CitySlicker has very specific snaps. You need to hit these things straight on if you want it to lock in place. And it's not that hard, but you do kind of need to aim them up and give them a little bit of a click. This one has more of a magnetic type closing system, so it kind of just hooks on its own, and it doesn't have to be as precise. You gotta hit it in the general region, but for the most part, it's gonna work a-okay. And the Switch is very secure in there. It is definitely padded, it's nice and soft in there, your screen is gonna be fine. So you will need to put your Joy-Con in the bigger pouch, but I think we're gonna save them for the last piece because here is really the crux of this case. 2 dividers that are going to allow us to put bigger accessories, bigger pieces in, and then hopefully the Joy-Con as well. Now, the bigger pouch on this side is meant to hold a Joy-Con grip, but let's face it, very few people use that anymore. So it also can hold a Pro Controller, and that is what I want, because bringing this with me and having it protected and stored nicely in a decently small form factor would be huge. So I think this needs to go vertically in here. So we're gonna put this guy in and see how well it's able to store and stay safe. So that works pretty well. It It's not the most ideal fit, but it is going to close and we will be totally okay. It's not going to bulge in any way. There is enough back here that it's still pretty darn flat and we're okay. It's not something that is really egregious in any way. It is meant, like I said, more for the grip, and maybe if I find the best way to rotate this, if we go this way perhaps, although maybe it's still kind of a similar type deal where it's a bit of a stretch. And I think the initial, the initial way I had it with the buttons facing the back and just the way the curve of the handle goes and the way the closing of the case goes, that's going to be best. It's a little bit there, but it's not so bad. We can also, in this side pouch here, take my AC adapter, and this will allow us to charge the thing all in one case. I normally bring the AC adapter with me, but again, it's something I just shove into a backpack. And that actually looks pretty good if you guys look up in there. You've got the Pro Controller, you've got the AC adapter, they're in their individual pouches, they're stored very well. It's time to fit the Joy-Con in, which is kind of a must for this case. I'm surprised that there isn't an individual pouch for them. And I guess if you weren't bringing a Pro Controller, you'd have more room, but I want to max this thing out. That's why I go with a bigger case. And so we're going to take these Joy-Con with the sad scratches on the back, and I guess just kind of drop them in here. There's not really a designated pouch. I'd feel better if there was. Doesn't seem like there's going to be, but they're not that tight of a fit, and we can still close this thing pretty well. Again, it's a little bit of a bulge with the Pro Controller, but for the most part, this thing is holding up nicely. I like that it still is small. We've got a nice handle. I can take my wrist strap from the CitySlicker and attach it over here to the arcade pack. There's no bulge in the back, and it's still pretty darn slim. Now, in terms of removal, the Switch comes out nice and easily, but you are going to have to deal with, there's no Joy-Con on, and it is a small thing, but it's notable to me because I do have to then pop this out and put these on separately. Dig out the pink Joy-Con, hope that it didn't get any more scratches, and we're good to go. And then you've got your Pro Controller, which pops out nicely. You've got your AC adapter, which we'll leave in there. There is not a back pocket on this one, so I guess I could shove in a USB-C if I wanted to. It just seems like it's a little bit less space than I would like. We could do, let me try this. If I go that there, and then we'll just use this pair of Joy-Con. I'm kind of trying to put them behind the pouches now to see if that helps out, if that works and kind of makes things easier. And in fact, it looks like it's going to. Let's see if we could even fit 2 sets of Joy-Con if I really wanted to get that multiplayer in the air or on the train or in the car or at the beach or whatever play session going. Sand plus Switch, probably not a good combo, but hey, it might work. We can then, let's see, is this gonna work? Yeah, that's actually not too bad. Now I've got 2 sets of Joy-Con, my Pro Controller, my Switch, and my AC adapter in here. It's a little bit of a bulge in the back because of the side where the Pro Controller is and that second set of Joy-Con. So it's doing a little bit, but this is a thicker material on the back and seems to be a sturdier material. It's a thicker leather than what we have here with the more meshy back of the CitySlicker. So the bulging and the little bit of excess we're putting in here, I don't think is going to cause any problems, I hope. Maybe over time, but probably not. So you are able to kind of bring, as they call it, the whole arcade with you. We now have the capability to play with up to 5 people with the Pro Controller and the 4 Joy-Con, and the AC adapter allows me to not worry about it ever running out. Now, they are a little bit closely packed in there, so while I don't think it's as scratch risky as just shoving them in a backpack, it does worry me a little bit that we're not getting separate pouches, and I wish, upon all wishes, that the Switch could just sit in here with the Joy-Con. If it could, man, this would be tough to beat. But as it stands, something about just not having the Joy-Con on the Switch itself bugs me a bit. Maybe I'm weird, let me know, but that does strike me as just a little bit odd. I love that I can take the Pro Controller with me. I like that I can bring an extra set of Joy-Con without really messing with the structure of the case. I will say it's a tight fit, and I wish there was some place to store games. I'm not quite sure why we didn't get the same treatment on the front here of that game slot thing. I think it would be great if every case, or at least every Waterfield case, included this. If I could design my own Waterfield case, I would take the length of this guy, the width of this guy, the game cart from the CitySlicker, plop it on the new Arcade Pack Plus, and that would be ideal. But as it stands, will I use this as my replacement? It's really great that I can take the Pro Controller. It's really great that I can bring the AC adapter. But I'm gonna have to say no. I like this case a lot, and I think for a lot of people, being able to carry those things all together in one place is great. But packing it so tightly and just, I don't know, worrying about the extra Joy-Con and are they bulging and are they scratching and are they, bending the sticks, and just the fact that I can't whip this out as quickly and play as I can over here because, dude, once the Joy-Con are on this guy, I love that from this CitySlicker case perspective, it's in here, it's got the nice screen protector, it's closed, boom, I'm out, and I'm ready to go. And maybe that is a first world problem of a few seconds, but to me, I still prefer the CitySlicker, which is odd. I thought I was gonna love this thing because it can hold the Pro Controller pretty well and it can hold the AC adapter. But for me personally, the slim form factor, the fact that I can just slide this and carry this anywhere, the game cart slots, and the ability to keep the Joy-Con on the Switch, for better or worse, the CitySlicker is still my go-to. Now, because this is going to come down to personal preference, I will say that typically if I travel with others, they've got their own Switch as well. So while it's very nice to be able to have that extra pair of Joy-Con in the arcade pack for those multiplayer sessions, usually in my life, somebody else has a Switch and would provide their own Joy-Con, and therefore for me, it's the Pro Controller inclusion and the AC adapter inclusion that mean a whole lot more. But it could be nice for you, being able to take all of those controller options with you to have multiplayer access from your own case. That's pretty sweet. It's just something that I don't really find myself needing. Now, maybe something slightly bigger would be better for me, and maybe this is sort of the awkward middle child of just a little bigger, but not big enough. It's not as long, but it is a little wider. I don't know. I'm not liking it as much, and I kind of like the mesh and leather look of the CitySlicker, whereas this is more of an all-leather case. I don't know. This to me screams more Switchy, if that makes sense, given that it is long like the Switch, given that it has the game pouch for the Switch stuff. And the Pro Controller, I'll just have to find a way to keep it safe. The AC adapter, I guess, hey, if the AC adapter scratches, so be it. It's basically just making sure that this guy stays wrapped in a t-shirt or in a plastic bag or something of that sort. But even though this case is, I think, good and recommendable, what I was trying to do here is see if I would change course from what I've been using, and frankly, I'm not. I'm gonna still use a CitySlicker, and that is still my favorite Switch case of all time. They are on the premium end, but I really do like the work Waterfield does. I think both of these are solid. This one just works better for me. Let me know which one you think works better for you. Would you be an arcade pack person that wants a little bit more room, or would you be a CitySlicker person that wants the slight form factor and that lovely game cart slot, plus the ability to keep the Joy-Con on the Switch? For some reason, that's still one of the biggest things for me. Let me know in the comments down below, guys and girls. I'd love to hear your take. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and its accessories. We've got you covered. Follow us on Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. And until next time, my friends, we love you. Switch Force out.